enough with the racism? Will there be this sort of a national reckoning there on this issue because of what Harry and Meghan said? So to talk about that is someone who very clearly has done a lot of research on this in the UK because he's a professor and author who has written a book called Revealing Britain's Systemic Racism, The Case of Meghan Markle and the Royal Family. Who better to talk to us about this than Dr. Joe Fagan?
Highly relevant.
Yes, Dr. Fagan, welcome to TMZ Live.
Hey, Dr. Fagan.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. I guess we got to start with your
interview. Oprah, of course, is a genius as an interviewer, and she got them to talk about a lot of things in a very conversational, personal way. It was interesting what it focused on and then what it didn't cover.
I'm interested in the didn't cover part.
Yeah, it didn't cover.
Well, Oprah covered off and on a little bit about the white racism that Markle has faced. You know, this whole controversy around her is there because she's a mixed race woman. And questions arise among many white Britons, of course, about whether she can be authentically British and be both American and mixed race. And Oprah and Harry and Meghan did get into a few racist aspects of their experience with the royal family, such as something we didn't really know much about, that Harry was asked and questioned about the racial look of Archie.
So, Doctor, I wanted to ask you something. You used a phrase that I found really interesting, that you're saying that there are white people in the UK who wonder if she can be authentically British. I mean, I haven't read your book yet, but are you saying that the feeling in Great Britain is you can't be authentically British if you're not white?
Certainly among many white Britons, that's the case.
So,
why would you raise the question about the racial look of Archie if that's not the case?
So you're saying that the root of that question is that that's just not... there are people in the UK who just don't say you're not really British if you're black.
Correct. The famous racist phrase from the right-wing pundits, right, that there's no black in the Union Jack.
Yeah.
Wow.
I get it. And look, it was shocking to hear the claims made about Archie, about what was said about the color of his skin, stripping him of the prince title, not giving him security.
No security.
You know, there were clear claims of racism, and if true, it proves it out. How deep is racism in the royal family, in your view?
Clearly, the racist incidents that come out from time to time out of the family, we document them in the book. And just the wedding itself was a pretty good demonstration of that. Negative looks, negative expressions, twittering, snarky looks, and also some of the tabloid and media comments about the black bishop's sermon. You know, they were saying it was so long, and it was much shorter than they were saying it was. And they seemed to be snarky about, well, he was talking like a black preacher in the U.S.
As the barn doors get blown open here, does the royal family survive? Do they change? And I ask whether they survive because of what you said, which is there's a lot of racism generally in England. And if that's the case, is this something they embrace or something that they disavow?
That's a great question, and that's really the central question, isn't it? The British royal family is arguably the strongest royal family in Europe. It still has power, influence, wealth that other royal families in other European countries have lost. So one thing that Oprah and Harry and Meghan did not get into, at least in the part of the interview that was broadcast, was just how dangerous it is for the British royal family for these controversies to exist. Because there is tension. I'm not a Brit, but I know a lot about Britain, and there's a lot of tension in Britain between the pro and anti-royal factions in the general population.